Oh shit, I'm live. Are you guys ready? Saturday night, the feeling's right. It's time to party. So let's do this. I feel like a lot of people are probably partying. You know when people still say this all the time, that you have FOMO, fear of missing out. I used to get FOMO when I was afraid of my own company, when, I thought I'd meet someone out instead of meeting them in the morning. What's up, Max? Good to see you, buddy. What's up, Jenna? Yeah, thanks, buddy. Got doors. I have an open door policy at my house. I don't. I take that back. I don't have an open door policy. And let me actually just be clear. Today, we're going to rock it. I just got to shut off notifications so I don't get a noise going on. Yeah, but so they say FOMO, fear of missing out, which now I have JOMO, joy of missing out. I love it. It's the best. Everybody catch JOMO. It's the best thing you can catch. It's like, shit, I don't need to go to that party. I got a party here. I am a party. So just become a party and then you don't need to deal with it, right? So Saturday night, the feeling's right. We're doing a little live Q&A. We're going to have a lot of fun. You might have got FOMO and then you saw my name pop up that I'm doing a live and you're like, I got to get up on that. We're going to have it. Thanks for the love on the Faraday hat. This is also a Faraday shirt. I rep Faraday. I love it. It's one of my favorite brands. So, I did a podcast with the founders. They're just incredible humans. Anyways, this is not a promo post, I promise. So we're just going to jam. What's up, Melissa? Way to go. 1 month and 5 days sober, and you are living off JOMO. Yes, because you are more connected to yourself than you ever were, and you're present to the feelings that drinking distracts us from. And which is not to say if you drink, that's what you're doing. That's just what I've done. And I think whenever we cut alcohol out of our lives, just to try it, just to see. Because if we can't, that's a challenge, right? Like if you just can't. Because there's always like, oh, there's another birthday. Oh, there's another thing. And it's like, there will always be another fucking thing. You know what, though? Can you take this moment to make a choice of change, right? We always delay transformation, thinking we have time. I hate to say this, but we don't have time. We have the perception of time. We have the privileged idea of time because your eyes are open right now. Your ears are open. You're listening to me. But we don't have that. That's a privilege that actually doesn't exist, right? So, am I sober? I am. I am. I don't mind touching the odd edible or hitting the odd psychedelic, but I haven't done them in a while. And someone asked, is weed bad? Anything that pulls you away from who you are is a distraction from presence into a feeling. If you can be present and need none of those things, then you're choosing them from a whole self, which is different. And again, not to shame any choices, not to shame any feeling. Sober-ish, as my sister says. All right, so I got a Q&A. Dating 101, we're relaunching. We've got early bird ending tomorrow, so hop on it. If you're like, I'll just wait till tomorrow, you're gonna forget, and then I'm not gonna make an exception because I've got exceptional boundaries. So are there any healthy love songs? That's a great question. End of the Road from Boys to Men is a healthy, marinating in breakup pain love song. Anything from Adele is devastatingly painful. Also, by the way, this company, Natural Life, I love it. Cup of Love, it's so beautiful. Oh, there we go. Darla Delis. It's a great program I just finished. Okay, well, in the interest of this, let's have some fun. Let's kick some ass. Let's change our lives. Let's talk about humanity. Let's get into it. And if you haven't, I just started another Instagram called It's Mark Groves. So I can have conversations that just aren't about dating and relationships. We're going to get all up in the business there. So make sure you follow it at It's Mark Groves. All right. I'm settled in, Big Bear. You hold the phone, buddy. I'm making the rules here. It's my platform. Okay. Number 1. I just finished Dating 101 and loved it and instantly met someone. Ooh, hello. I haven't read these, by the way. This is my first time. They're everything from my ideal list. Ooh. We have been talking heaps and planning to meet, but suddenly he just disappeared and went silent. I don't think he's playing games. He seems genuine. How many days do I wait to reach out, or do I just leave it with him? Well, this is the practice, right, of learning how to date and relate. Is how do I know when I contact someone that is coming from a genuine place or an anxious place? Look, in Dating 101, we explore the nervous system because the nervous system is a huge part of this. My nervous system and my attachment style, you learn both of those things and how to change them, how to heal it. And what we're doing is we're starting to pay attention to, first off, she says, I don't think he's playing games. He seems genuine. They've had a lot of talking. There's just an abnormal behavior that's come out of the blue. Whenever this happens, right, we create stories, especially if we have an old story that still exists, right? That still is going on in the background, like people don't choose me, people don't love me, I'm not enough. I create, rejection and abandonment are happening all the time. And this is what happens is people just fade away, right? Or people fall out of love. We have all these different stories and beliefs and thoughts, and they were validated. We came up with them because we learned from somewhere that that's true, right? So like when we think every marriage ends in divorce, that's obviously not true. But if we saw every marriage end in divorce, that created our data for divorce and marriage. Now, if we ever want to experience long-term, loving, passionate, deep relationship that's healthy, we have to explore all the beliefs we have that we're trying to avoid. If I think every relationship is going to end in divorce, then I might never end up being in long-term relationships. I might avoid them. I might avoid choosing people I could possibly be in a long-term relationship with, because what's the point? What's the point? So we might not even know in the unconscious or subconscious that belief exists. That's part of the sort of cultivating or weeding out that we do in Dating 101. So everything from my list, amazing. Consistency, hopefully add that to your list. But you're also, I see here, it doesn't give a time as to how long it's taken, but it doesn't sound like it's taken much time. That it's been a lot of consistency and then a little bit of inconsistency. And so what I would do is I would first check into myself. Because this always happens, Someone learns something and then they're at the point of the pivot, of the change, of like the new behavior. They're about to send the text that they always send when their anxious attachment style kicks them up and their nervous system is like, I need to regulate. And so we regulate by sending the text. That's how we regulate. I'm trying to get the attachment. I'm trying to get the connection. So I send the message. I don't hear back. Oh shit. Then I'm reeling. I might send another message and then I might lose it and be like, oh my gosh, you know what? You're a classic guy. You're just unavailable. You're inconsistent. You know what? You don't meet my standards. And I'm taking this course from Mark. And he said that if you don't meet my standards, then we're done. And so bye boy, or whatever people say. I'm not that cool. So notice this. That has caused this whole reeling, right? This whole cascade where we're trying to maintain some sort of connection, and we might be hoping that they're going to say, no, that's not what I did. But in the early part of the dating phase, they're like, hell no, I'm out of here. That's crazy train, right? Because that's too much. Because when we're trying to hook, we're trying to send, I'm like a fisherman. If you're a fisher person, you're sending this hook and you're trying to reel them in. What happens is the other person can feel the hook, that you're looking for regulation from them as opposed to being regulated, and the text actually comes, or the reaching out comes from an integrated place. So the first thing I would say is you check in with yourself. Okay, has this person shown any other signs of inconsistency? No. And I know you're saying this. Question asker, you're saying no, they are not doing that. How's my announcer voice? Not bad. That felt good. And so the second part is the silence is not narcissistic. That's a big leap to say the silence is narcissistic, because silence is also where attraction is, space. It's not getting the silent treatment, which is a very different. That would be stonewalling. That would be a withdrawing sort of behavior. But the actual silence could be they got in a car accident, they got busy at work, their mom or dad got sick, their kid got this, their dog did this, their phone died, they dropped it in a lake. There's so many things that could have happened, but if we go right to the narrative of fuck this, look at this, it feeds the old story that's living there, that's feeding all the ruminating, right? That's like, must be blah, 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 blah. You know, we don't know how long it's been silent, but it sounds like a short period of time. So we're talking about short period of time. And so what we would say is we'd say, give it time. Give it a space, especially if you're someone who's prone to reaching out. You actually don't do the reaching out. You sit in the space of discomfort where you're growing, because the child in you is like, send the damn text. Let's get this person. Come on, I'm feeling very insecure here. But the security actually begins to be formed from within, knowing that you can build your capacity for discomfort, that you can build your nervous system. You can learn to regulate yourself. You can regulate yourself by going for a walk, by talking to your friend and saying, I'm feeling pretty dysregulated right now. I want to send this message. And you don't, right? You hold and you change your behaviors. You just want to look at your patterns and you want to do the opposite of your patterns. Because if your patterns aren't getting what you want, then you know you need to change your patterns. Now, guess what happens if you change your patterns? You change your life. You change your life. That's actually how simple it is. People are like, that sounds too simple. It's not too, it's actually that simple. It's just challenging because what you're doing underneath is changing a whole narrative. You're changing a whole unconscious. You're changing a belief about yourself that you can hold it, that you can manage it. And what you're also doing is you're growing up. There's an adult that's being born in that moment. Now, if it takes longer, hey, then you can act. You can keep checking in with yourself and you can say, is this coming from a place of integration? Is this coming from the adult part of myself? If I send this message, am I seeking security because there is insecurity here? Am I secure and actually just reaching out? Notice how simple it is, right? But it's complex, and that's what we have to honor is the compassionate part. Most of us say, well, fuck that part of me that like sends the thing. I hate the part of me that's anxious. Don't hate the part of you that's anxious. Love it, because that part of you was cultivated from your experiences. You likely inherited it. You probably come from a long line of anxious people. And that's not because you have a chemical imbalance, because that's been disproven long ago. You have a pattern of behavior that gets fed with another pattern of behavior. And so it's looking at when we don't create security within ourselves, we try to seek it outside of us, right? Try to seek it outside of us. Now, if we want to get a little deeper on that, a lot of us seek, here, I got to kick only for you out of here. Okay, so, because no one wants to follow you from here. We're talking about other things, and here you are like, follow me. And we're like, we're talking about anxious attachment style. Could we get more anxious? Okay, so think about this, where it comes from this place of, okay, what was I talking about? See, it kicked me off my brain. Now my brain just farted. And now I can't remember what I was talking about, but I was on one. Give it to me. Come on, team. Bring it back. Slooper so pace. Come on, guys. Boy, bye. No, that's not what I was talking about. I had something coming. All right. Well, you know what? This is how much I trust in life. It'll come back if it's supposed to come back. Here's what I know, though, is that when you change your relational patterns, you change your life. How's that for a close? All right. We win. Okay. So this person, you already know how to change it. We've talked about a little bit. Follow me. Boy, enemy loves that. Okay. If we want to get a bit deeper, I know I did want to get a bit deeper in that one. Let me just think for a second. I can't remember. All right, so it wasn't meant to come out. You know what? It wasn't going to come out in the right way, the right time. So let's get on to question number 2. Question number 2. Hi, Mark. Why do so many people say they want to keep it casual? And then they send the old apple bottom or whatever, or the eggplant. The peach, I think it's a peach. And the eggplant, or whatever your thing is. Maybe you send some other kind of fruit or vegetable. Am I just a placeholder while they meet someone better? Or do they just not want commitment with anyone? Well, it could be both, right? It could be both. Could be both. You know, what do we actually have, though, very often? We meet someone, they say they only want something casual, and then they meet someone and they're in a relationship with them. And what is exactly what occurs? We create the belief, well, I wasn't enough for them, but that person was. Oh, this is like right out of every regular texting friend conversation. Can you imagine how much shitty red wine has been drank over that subject? It might even be really good red wine. I don't know. maybe some sort of cider. It doesn't matter. Just a lot of it has been drank over processing that. I wasn't enough, the next person was. But I kept fighting for them to be committed, and they didn't want commitment. So I was fighting for something that was obvious didn't exist because they told me they didn't want it. And yet I wanted it, but I misrepresented what I actually wanted so I could get them and keep the connection. And then I was surprised when they met someone else and wanted something with them when they told me all along they didn't want something with me. Right. So this is an old pattern living in we're dating where we are hoping that someone changes for us, loves us, chooses us, that we're finally enough. In Dating 101, we explore all this. What goes on at the ether of these types of connections, right? This is, oh, by the way, to register, the link is in my bio, and I forgot. It's also datingisdope.com. So, think about this, though. We do this all the time. We misrepresent what we actually want, and then we're surprised when they want it with someone else but didn't want it with us. So, here's this really important part of our work, which is we got to stop chasing people to be chosen, because the very act of doing the chasing is the invitation for you to choose yourself. So when I chase people who I want to change, who I want them to finally become their potential, if I want that, I want them to finally choose me, even though the writing's been on the wall, they've been cheating on me, they've been lying to me, they've been telling me they don't want anything, and I can't fucking hear them, even though they're telling me. And we need to almost get those type, where you get like satellites installed around your ears so you pick up more information. But it won't matter because it would just be louder words of the same words, but we wouldn't actually hear it because we can't hear it. Because what we're doing is hope is actually translating that and saying, just try harder. Try harder. And so you can look at where is the behavior pattern where that comes from as a kid. Probably from trying to get your parents' attention, trying to be enough, it could be parent, could be coaches, could be anything. It doesn't really matter where it comes from. All that matters is that it exists and you don't want to do it anymore, right? Like a lot of the stuff we think about, we want to really pathologize. We want to get into where was the originating core wound? And a lot of people get stuck because they can't find it. I don't know where it is. And bullying, great example. That is too. So it can come from school. It can come from so many things. But what's important is you actually just acknowledge, that's part of my pattern. I want to change it. Right? Because when we're trying to search for the origin story, which if you want to do that, obviously I'm not saying don't do it. But when you're trying to search for the origin story without actually changing the story, change the story first. Really focus on changing the story. No matter what, it's not your fault why you do it. It was a response. It was a learned response. So it's not your fault. So you can let that part go and then really dig into, if I was enough, what would I do? That's a guiding question I give in Dating 101. If I was enough, what would I do? If I already was, because you're already whole. You don't need to go figure out where all the parts of you are and the pieces, because it's already there. What you need to discover is, where do you actually create emptiness within you for other people to fill, which is someone saying, let's keep it casual. Well, if someone says, let's keep it casual, and you don't want to keep it casual, and you stay in it, you're abandoning yourself. You're trying to maintain connection by lowering your bar in order to maintain, right? In order to keep them. But you're not actually with them authentically, because the part of you that is a chameleon that pretends you want what other people want is in a relationship with them. So a less powerful version of you, a quieter version of you, a submissive version of you, a submitted version of you, a version of you that is not in your fullest power, your fullest expression. So why do so many people say they want to keep it casual? Because they're likely afraid of intimacy. It's maybe after someone went through a breakup and they want to, do the old Humpty Hump so they don't have to feel the pain. Well, listen, after an orgasm, your heart still hurts. Let's be honest, because it's just another Band-Aid to pain and suffering and hurt. It's just another way to avoid actually feeling the things. I tried to do that for a decade after a devastating breakup. I didn't know I was trying to do that. But it turned out that's exactly what happened. As they say, hindsight is 20/20. And when I looked back, I was like, shit, that wasn't good. But it happened. So why do so many people say they want to keep it casual? Because they maybe don't have the tools for intimacy. Likely, it's because keep it casual is different than take it slow. Keep it casual and working towards the same relational intention is great. Casual is really saying, let's not move too fast in that context. So we might say, what are you looking for? First off, you got to get to know what you're looking for. And look, I cover all of this in Dating 101. It goes way deeper than all of this. But let me tell you, first you go, what am I looking for? And then when you're dating, you're like, what are you looking for? That way you're not trying to figure out, do I want what they want? You already know. So you're not dating with this like random radar. You know, a lot of people go like, I don't pick great people. I'm like, we got to fix your picker. Your picker is broken because you likely learned not how to pick people by looking at how people picked people in your life, in your past, through movies, all that kind of shit. And so when keep it casual is in the context of moving towards a shared relational intention, that's usually saying let's keep it slow. But you want to keep it, when someone just says let's keep it casual, I'm not looking for anything. They just told you exactly what's going on. They might be hurt, they might be afraid of pain, they might be afraid of a lot of things. So that's okay. That's their journey. Your journey is not to save them from that, not to be the type of relationship that will trade them, get them to save them from their casual desires. That's not your fucking job. They're adults. They can make their decisions, but they're telling you the truth. So instead, hear the truth, because the truth shall set you free, as they say. So am I just a placeholder while they meet someone better, or do they want commitment with anyone? They just don't want commitment, and you might be a placeholder. No matter what, you're a placeholder if you say yes to that when you actually want something deeper. So if you don't want to keep it casual and someone does, keep it real. So when someone's like, I want to keep it casual, you're like, I want to keep it real. That seems like a way better, I want to keep it real. And the truth is, I don't want to do casual, and I respect that you want to do casual. Thank you for telling me about that. And let's go. I'm not with you anymore. I'm back on swipe left, done. Good luck with your search. You're not a match for me. And that's beautiful. That's what dating is. That's what filtering is. You're not a match for me. That's beautiful. If they're not a match for you, you're not a match for them. That seems so simple, right? Like, if they don't want what you want, they're not the one. They're not the one, right? If they don't want what you want, they're not the one. So if you're like, but they're the one, and you're like, no, the one wants what you want, and you're like, no, but this one doesn't know yet. Fucking bullshit. They're never going to learn it till you actually stand in your truth, and that might be the time someone actually steps towards you. But if you keep being a doormat, if you keep bending and breaking for people, they're not going to respect you, right? That's the hard thing. They're not going to respect you. And this isn't about getting people to respect you. This is about respecting your own space and your own desires and your own standards and all that kind of stuff. Because when you do that, you stand in your power. Then it's your adult self in the relationship, not someone who's bending and breaking, a smaller version of you. And we talk about boundaries in Dating 101 too. As I said, if you want to sign up, Dating is Dope. All right? datingisdope.com or the link in my bio. Okay, ready? Question 3. We're having a lot of fun. I just wanted to point out, as an observer of this experience with a moderate, I would say I have a significant bias. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you're having a lot of fun. It's Saturday night, and the feeling's right. Let's do it. Question 3. Mark, I just said I love you for the first time. Ooh, dropping the L-bomb. I love the L-bomb. When it slings out, you just feel it. So much vulnerability, so much risk. The L-bomb. It happened organically. Felt right in the moment. I see you, yeah. But he didn't say it back. He says he isn't ready to say it. I know he has hesitancies because he has had his heart broken before. But now I am worried that he will never be ready. We have been dating nearly a year. At what point has it been too long? Well, first off, what a beautiful thing that he told you the truth. It shows you that he takes saying that very seriously. And here's what occurs generally. 1, we make stories about that. They must not love me. Well, it's because they've associated love with something, with pain, right? So it sounds like he's been heartbroken before, so achy breaky heart, just don't think you'd understand. That was a good song. I know he has hesitancies because he's been heartbroken before, but now I am worried that he will never be ready. Okay, this is where we start to create the stories. And is it good to pay attention to when someone is continuously avoidant? Of course, yes. And I would get curious here, because it's not about at what point has it been too long. It's about, can I have the conversation with him to say, tell me about what the word love means to you. Tell me about what the word love means to you, because it means something to him, but it's also associated with pain. So if you're afraid to say I love you or fall in love, then what happens is that you're afraid of what's associated with love. So it's not love that creates pain. It's the absence, like the removal of it, right? It's when it disappears, because we think that relationships, when they end, love ends. Or that when heartbreak happens, we create the unconscious story that love leads to pain, right? And so what we do again, is we create upper limits within our love story. We might date unavailable people from there on. We might become really avoidant. We might be unavailable. We might start to seem narcissistic, right? We might start to get to this extreme where we don't allow anyone in. We might ghost people. We might withdraw. We might shut down. We might never date anyone who actually wants to love us. All the really good humans who are trying. And that's because there's pain that's associated with closeness. And just like someone who's anxious latches on when there's insecurity, someone who has more pain associated with closeness is likely to create space when there's insecurity. Because closeness hurts, so they need space. Now, we go through all of this. Attachment styles, nervous system has a lot to do with what I'm talking about. We go through all of that in Dating 101. So when I think about this question, I always just want to know, tell me about it. Tell me about what love means to you. So when I say it to you, how does it make you feel? And does it feel like you're afraid to say it back? Does it feel like you're not ready to say it? Why? Tell me why. And when would you know you're ready? How would you know you're ready? And that just might be the leap when he knows he can surrender and dive in. This is not a gender-based question. This is a human-based experience, you know? So if we say, I love you, right? Someone said, you can't say it and expect to hear it back, of course, right? And it's still, we can sit with the human disappointment when we don't hear it back, or the pain and struggle of saying it and not hearing it for a bit. But the real question is starting to get curious about this, and then also asking, what is he doing to heal his past relational pain? That's another thing. What are you doing to explore what love means to you? And you can do them together, right? You can explore this together. You can explore this together. You can explore that subject, what does love mean to me? So this is about curiosity. You've been dating nearly a year. I would say that I can't say at what point has it been too long, because really it's about progress and communication. It's about saying, hey, can we explore this a little deeper? It's made me feel really anxious that you haven't said it back to me, because I've put a whole bunch of stuff on the word love. And you might hear someone when you say to them, hey, like I said I love you and you didn't say it back, and you know, it's making me go crazy, etc., etc. And someone might say, leave them. They don't want what you want. But we need to leave so much space for the human experience. You know, if everything else shows that they're interested, they might say, hey, but I'm doing everything. I couldn't love you more. I couldn't show up more. And I couldn't act in a way, I couldn't treat you in a way that makes you feel loved more. I just can't say it yet. And it's like, oh, shit, they are consistent. They do treat me with respect. They are this, they are that. And so, I see someone say, he usually says, I love making love to you. Notice how that's separate than saying I love you. It's a way of saying it without saying it, because there's something about I love you. Because can you imagine if someone, when they were young, were abused by people who told them they loved them? And so it might be hard to say I love you, right? We have to give context to why someone can't say something, but at least they're telling you they can't say it. As opposed to like, I love you, and they're like, cool, man, that's really cool. Yeah, I love it. I love stuff. I love it. Okay, what do you want for dinner? Right? Like, that's totally different. All right. If there isn't, question number 4, again, we're having fun here. This is going to be recorded. It's going on the live thing, on the grid thing. So we have Dating 101 is happening. So click on the link in my bio to register, and you can go to datingisdope.com to register. All right? Early bird ends tomorrow. Okay, we're going to crush it. If there isn't immediate chemistry or sexual attraction, should I still give them a chance? In my experience, the spark doesn't grow over time, but at what point do you know? This is actually a very complex question, because I think we have to make an assumption here. We have to make the assumption that this person, we're going to make 2 assumptions. 1, this person is attracted to good people. If you're attracted to good people and you generally relate with good human beings, I would say that you can pay attention to what chemistry is and what it's indicative to for you. So you should you still give them a chance? Listen, my qualifier when I was single was, do I want another date with them? That's really the main question. Am I interested in getting to know them more? Am I excited about the possibility of seeing them again? That's a great qualifier. That's all you need, right? Most people are like, shit, can I have a life with them? Can I do this? Can I do this? This is about just being present. Am I excited about the possibility of getting to know them? Now, if you're someone who's generally attracted to not good people, people who are unavailable, and I'm not saying unavailable people are not good people, but if you're attracted to all of these different types of dysfunctions and challenges and projects, and all the things that when you use the poo emoji, you're sort of like using that as a broad stroke for all of what is possibly what you would call someone not very good for you. So I would say that there's a nervous system recalibration, and what chemistry is needs to be recalibrated, because someone in that circumstance might say to me, before there's another level of awareness or responsibility available, which we've all been there, they might say, you know what? You can't help who you're attracted to. You just can't help it. And I'm like, actually you can. I just want to point that out. Just because your loins tingle doesn't mean you need to choose someone. Just because you go from 6 to midnight doesn't mean you need to date someone. Just because you get a little, right? The juices are flowing, right? Doesn't mean you need to pick someone, right? There's this idea that where there's chemistry, there's not choice, right? Because we tend to date from a very scarce thought. Like, oh, I have a connection with this person. I must pursue it because there's no more connections, or this person might be the one. And that's a broken story, the one. I talk about the one in Dating 101. The one is a story that will hijack you and not make you present in choosing partners. Don't just give someone the title because you got a little tingly action. You allow them to earn it, as you're choosing them, right? We got to stay in discernment. In Dating 101, we talk about how do you recalibrate the nervous system? How do you explore what chemistry means? We dive deep into that. How do you recalibrate it? How do you change it? What did chemistry previously mean? What did it bring it to you? What did it bring you to, right? And so what we're starting to look at is, what is chemistry for me? What has it historically been? What do I want it to be? How do I change it? Who do I want to be attracted to? What types of people? And then we have to, that's the hard part, because of course, the perfect, most coconut oiled human shows up who is almost someone, is like a test, is our old shit, but dressed up in new shit, if we always dated hipsters, all of a sudden this new version shows up. I don't know what's different than a hipster, a gangster, I don't know, but someone else dressed up differently. And we're like, yeah, but this is different. But really they got these glasses on, you know, and I'm a hipster sometimes, but they've got this look going, oh, I got it. They show up like this, and you're like, it's so different, it's a different person. But then the behaviors are the exact same, right? Because they're the same person. They just might be just a little different. They might have blue eyes instead of yellow eyes. I don't know. People shouldn't have yellow eyes. That's actually not good. That's your liver. So don't have if you have yellow in the whites of your eyes. I'm not a doctor, but I used to have a shirt that said, "Trust me, I'm a doctor," which is actually a great shirt. It was a great shirt. Okay, so I've explained that if you want to change your chemistry, you got to change your patterns. If you date people who aren't good for you and you call that chemistry, that's not chemistry. Chemistry would not bring you to someone who's bad for you. What chemistry would do is bring you to someone who's bad for you so you can not go for bad people anymore. Again, not a judgment. You can not go for them anymore, and you can now stay in your zone, stay in your body, stay in your humanity, stay in your nervous system, stay grounded, and learn to adult, right? Okay, yes, this mug is from Natural Life. They're the bomb. Cup of Love. Okay. We got another question now. All right, we're on question 5. It feels pretty good. I'm feeling good. I got tacos waiting for me. Kylie has made tacos. I mean, if that's not a green flag right there, you're doing an Instagram live and your partner is making tacos. This is literally the greatest thing ever. She's the greatest keeper. Okay. I am seeing someone. Like the question asker. I am seeing someone who seems amazing, but, always a but, I know he has cheated on past partners. How big of a red flag is this, and how can I know whether he will do it again? Once a cheater, always a cheater? Question mark. All right, first off, let's just acknowledge what a great question. I mean, this is a conversation of sorts that is like a cultural conversation. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Really? No, of course not. Because you can learn from everything. Like once a liar, always a liar. Remember when you lied as a kid? And then someone was like, yeah, but you lied as a kid. You must lie as an adult. And you're like, no, I learned from it. I don't lie anymore. They're like, you lie still because you lied as a kid. This is, I think it's because there's a number of things here. First off, great thing to be mindful of. I'm not saying don't be mindful of it. But there's, we always look at cheating and we just instantly vilify it because, one, we're so terrified of it occurring to us. It is an incredible break of trust and betrayal. It's painful. It's painful AF. And we might have done it before and not explored it within ourselves, so we have shame associated with it, so we don't want to touch the subject, so we shame anyone who's done it. And that's a whole other thing, and we do that with anything that we don't want to turn towards. Now, the other side of it is people can learn. Some of their greatest invitations to the discovery of themselves can come from a mistake. Actually, I would say all of life's greatest lessons come from pain. They come from hurt. They come from making mistakes. They come from cheating. They come from lying. They come from hurting people. They come from being hurt. They come from being cheated on. They come from fractures where our reality is decimated. And so when our reality is decimated, what happens is we are actually broken down into what is real. And I am not being trite. I'm not minimizing the pain. But whenever anyone says to me, I went through a breakup and I'm devastated, I'm da-da-da-da-da, I'm always just like, okay, like this, let's get fucking cooking. Because this is the time. This is the time. You will never have a more beautiful time when everything's burned down. All the bullshit's burned, all the fucked up stuff is gone, and you're like, there you are in the ashes, still whole, still you, but now without any of this other shit getting in the way because you're tired of it. You're tired of it. No one has enough energy to keep up the facade when they've gone through a breakup. They're ready. You can take that pain and you can do what you've always wanted to do, which is totally claim yourself and totally construct a you that is authentic and real and doesn't fuck around, right? Like wherever there's betrayal, generally, external betrayal, I experienced betrayal, there's likely 99% of the time betrayal that we've done to ourselves. So when we get to moments of betrayal on the external, so in the external environment, it is often that we have betrayed ourselves long before. We missed the red flag. We didn't have boundaries. We didn't stand up for ourselves. We misrepresented what we wanted. We didn't tell the truth. We didn't stand in our power. And so we then experience this external betrayal, which of course is pain. It's super pain, but it's the deepest knock because it got deeper because there was a betrayal that occurred way before. So it hurts because that's like a Y in the road where you're like, hey, say that thing. And you're like, nah. And then you're like, say that thing. And you're like, nah. And then you're like, we should talk about that thing. Nah. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Nah. Blah, blah, nah. And then you end up so far from yourself that when the devastation happens, the collapse happens and you rejoin yourself. You're back with you. But the gap between who you are and who you were being is so big at that moment. And this is pretending to be someone you're not. This is pretending to agree with the religious beliefs you grew up with if they're not authentic to you. This is, I would imagine, pretending to be straight when you're not. This is, and I don't mean to claim that I have any understanding what that's like, but I was talking to my buddy Raphael the other day, who's gay, and I was saying, like, we had this beautiful conversation. He was on my podcast. He's incredible. And we were saying, like, everyone's in a closet, right? And that's, I think, what's so beautiful when you observe the story of people who finally jump into their authentic selves. It's so confronting for people who are not, right? And so this is this opportunity when we can look at the pain and the suffering that we have in our lives. We can actually look at this opportunity to rejoin ourselves, to give birth to who we actually are. Now, you can actually, Raphael is incredible. He teaches on mind. And by the way, mind, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So, we partner with Kate Spade for women's mental health. Every single teacher on there is teaching about mental health this month. I'm doing one on entrepreneurship and mental health. I'm doing one tomorrow, which is part 2 about boundaries. It's at 8:30 in the morning Pacific time. So let's do this. Yes, you'll be able to watch this later. Okay. And so this question, I know I went a long way around to get to this, but, he's cheated in a past partner. Great. I would ask him, what have you learned from that? Tell me a bit more about that. Why do you think that happened? Not even why do you think, why did that happen? Tell me about it. What was the state of the relationship that it got to that point? You telling me that you cheated on a past partner makes me actually a little anxious. It makes me a little worried. And you might even say, it makes me so worried that I wrote this guy on Instagram and I asked him this question because that's how worried I was. And then you can post this video, you can send it to him, and you can say, I actually want to get really curious about why that occurred in your life. Look, I've learned so many lessons about what integrity means to me by stepping out of integrity. I'm the first person to not claim to have been an angel in my life. And it is being able to say that to you that I'm free. And it's also being able to know that I'm able to explore these subjects because I don't hide what I've done in my life. Because they're all the most beautiful lessons. They've all been such transformations, right? And so I would just get curious. It's so beautiful that the relationship can be based on this space that says, hey, yeah, it makes sense that you'd be scared that I cheated on a past partner. How could anyone deny that that would be triggering? And relationships, infidelity, all that kind of stuff, all the stuff that happens in relationship, that's where we re-heal. That's where we actually build trust again. And so we might say if we're someone who's been cheated on, right, that would be very triggering to hear. We need to explore, how did I participate in the relationship where we got to the place where I got cheated on? Because you got to learn where all the betrayal parts of self, where you've betrayed yourself. You've got to learn where all those are so you can take responsibility for your part of the story. As my buddy Traver Boehm says, you're 100% responsible for your 50%, right? And so if we have a trigger about it, we could say to this person, hey, I've been cheated on before, that's triggering for me. I really want to be able to rebuild trust. And even if you've been cheated on and you just get anxious in relationships, you could say, hey, I get anxious about some things. I know it might not feel normal. It might feel a little crazy sometimes. I really want to heal it. So here's what would really contribute to that. I don't want to be afraid about where you are. I don't want to be afraid about who you're talking to, but I do want to heal this aspect of relationship with you. Would you participate in that with me? And they get to say no, and they get to say yes. But at least what you're doing is living with your heart out loud, right? You're not hiding it. You're not trying to be insecure and chase shit, right? You're like actually exploring it with them. And this is a great opportunity to work with a coach or a therapist that you like, that you relate to, that can walk you through that stuff. So, I mean, I walk through all this stuff in Dating 101. As I said, early bird ends tomorrow. But if you're like, this really fits for me, there's a lot of stuff I'm learning here, go sign up. You can go to datingisdope.com or go to the link in my bio. Early bird ends tomorrow. So if you're like, I'll sign up tomorrow, you probably won't. Let's be honest. You're going to forget. And then you're going to write me and be like, yo, can I get early bird? And I'm going to be like, no, because I talk about boundaries. I have a course on boundaries. I can't not have a boundary. So that's going to happen. Okay. Last question. I don't know what it's about, but I'm pretty excited about it. We've had a lot of fun. It's Saturday night. So you could be doing a lot of things, but instead you're hanging out here. And I'm excited about that. Thank you for exchanging time with me, the one thing you can't get back. And it is an honor and a privilege, I'm telling you. So what do you think of a man checking out other women while he's on a date? Let's just say, what do you think about another human doing that? Because that happens. In public, in a way that is noticeable. I feel that it is killing the vibe with the man I'm currently seeing, but I'm not sure whether to address it or just leave it. Absolutely address it. First off, doing that is disrespectful. No matter what kind of human you are, no matter your gender, checking out and lusting after someone else in front of your partner is unhealthy and not contributing to safety and security in the relationship. Listen, all relationships, the baseline of all relationships, whether they're business, whether they're friends, whether they're love, they're all based on safety and security. So if you don't have safety to be yourself, you will not feel authentic in that relationship, and you likely might not even have attraction to your partner if you don't feel safe to be yourself. So when we actually explore this, it's like, listen, he's breaking a boundary. It's disrespectful. So you would say, listen, when we're out, sometimes I notice that your eyes can dash to another person, to someone to a beautiful woman, beautiful man, beautiful human. And you can say, listen, I can appreciate beauty. I can appreciate a sexy mamacita. I can appreciate a sexy humano. I don't know what the right word is, but you know what I'm saying. And you can say, and I find it feels very disrespectful when you do that in my company. And it really, you think about it, this is just my thought on that. It just sends the wrong message too. It means that, there's space here, there's opportunity here. One thing I think is so important for a relationship, for the sacredness of the union that exists between us and other, is that no one thinks they have a chance to be in a relationship with you when you're in a relationship with someone else. There's not even the slightest sliver of 0.5% of energy that is we got some vibe, yo. There can't be that. And if there is that, it has to be cleaned up too, right? So there has to be a known that you're unavailable in this relationship. That's the boundaries that preserve the container of the relationship. So when some, chick walks by and I'm like, yo, what's up? Where's the bathroom? That's disrespectful. It says to my partner that I'm not with them, that someone else is more beautiful, right? This is all the types of narratives that get contributed to. So listen, we got to call out that behavior. And if someone gets defensive about it, that's okay. They're likely going to get defensive. They're going to want to defend that part of them that feels like they might have hurt you or whatever it is. But you could say listen, this is I'm not going to go do that to you either. This is a baseline of respect I want to have in our relationship, And I know someone asked the other day, how about him following or liking pics of beautiful women in bikinis and sometimes leaving comments? I was saying when I was 22, Instagram didn't exist. So I didn't I didn't have the opportunity to do that, but I was immature and I was really driven by desire. I went through a breakup that was devastating, and I would say when I went through that breakup, I really disconnected from my heart, and I was very driven by sexuality. I was very driven by desire to avoid pain. And, I think when I think about it, I was saying the other day, like at 22, I would have for sure been following Instagram models and all the things and commenting, and who knows, I don't know, because it didn't exist, but I think I would have. And someone was like, so does that mean it's okay? And I'm like, no, hell no, it was not okay. It was not okay at all. It's not okay. And I find it really interesting. I think everybody has a different, type of, don't worry, I got that. Everybody has a different type of energy, let me think about that again. I get derailed when we get trolls like that. Everybody has a standard, right? Like, I think what's really interesting is that when we're faced with, like, if we've been cheated on and we've had past infidelity, someone engaging with anyone who's even beautiful could be really triggering to us. They might have beautiful friends that they engage with who are their good friends, right? And so that can be really triggering if we've never really stood in our power, and maybe there were inappropriate communications in past friendships or in past relationships. And so because we never stood up in it, then when we look at this behavior, we don't know how to stand in our power. We're like being invited to, right? To say this is a standard of respect that needs to happen in this relationship. And I think when we've had previous hurt, it might show up like, this is what always occurs, right? We talk about the content. The content is someone follows Instagram, hot Instagram people, or the content is I don't feel attracted to this person anymore, right? Or, they never do this, or they blah, da, 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 or they don't want to get married, or there's so many different things. But my point is that we're focused on the content. We're focused on the content. And so what happens is, I now remember what I was going to say earlier, and if you're new, you don't remember that I forgot, but if you're still here, you know what I'm talking about, which is we often try to meet our needs with wants. So if I don't feel secure and I need security, I might want to get married because that'll satisfy it, but it's not actually meeting the need. It's satisfying a want. I get a ring. I get a status change on Facebook. I don't even know if people still do that anymore. But my point is that when we try to meet needs with wants, or we focus on content, they like this person on Instagram, they're doing this, it's because we don't have security within our relationship. What we're ultimately seeking is security and safety. So really explore, how do I get that? Like when someone says chemistry has died in our relationship, or I'm like, if it was there, it's still there. It's just that it's buried below self-abandonment. It's buried below not enoughness. It's buried below the fact that your relationship is now a pile of things that are unspoken and probably a lack of individuation. Because when chemistry dies, what happens is it's because each person's self has died within the relationship, for the relationship. And we've been taught this. Oh, your relationship, that person completes you. That should matter more than you. You should do anything for your partner. It's like, hell no. You should not. You should not abandon yourself. You should not lose the things you're passionate about. They should celebrate you doing things you're passionate about, and you should celebrate them doing things they're passionate about. And when you actually maintain and cultivate a self within a relationship, and you honor and respect the needs of the other self, the other person too, their need to go on adventures, their need to seek, their need to live their purpose, their need to be curious, just like we need to do those things. When you do that, you cultivate chemistry. You cultivate a lot of chemistry, because there's nothing hotter than your number one fan being your partner. There's nothing sexier than watching your partner step into their purpose and step into their power. I think we're socialized a lot. I'll say this for myself. I can't say it for everybody. But I certainly ran from powerful women. I'm now with a very powerful woman, and I love it. But I'm also terrified of it because I got to face my bullshit. and I'm not the one in power, right? We're sharing it. And if she gets more power, I don't lose any. The container of the relationship gains more power, right? And not power being like what we traditionally know it as like oppression or lack of empathy or dominance, but power that is just about us living our fullest, most emanating, soulful selves. In relationship, we're not generally taught that. We're taught that relationship is where sacrifice is. But sacrifice is different than compromise. Sacrifice is something has to be murdered. Something has to be killed, right? Compromise is not an act of sacrifice. It's that you might put something on the back burner. You might not do something that you want to do in that moment. But the relationship grows from it. Your partner grows from it. That you're not resentful because it contributes to something greater within the relationship container. And when I say container, I mean what encapsulates you and your partner. And so compromise deepens intimacy, it deepens trust, it deepens growth, it does so much stuff. Sacrifice is martyr, is victim, is, right? But I sacrifice so much for you. It's like, I don't want you to do that. Why are you sacrificing for me? You should be expanding for you. You should be sacrificing for yourself if you want to. But don't do it for me because now you're keeping score. You did it for me. I didn't even ask you to. And it's like, shit. Man, you creating all these scorecards. I don't want scorecards. It's like, don't sacrifice for me. Stand in your power for me, for you, and then for us. Because both people need to be powerful. So, are you ready to date, Brett? I don't know. If you're feeling curious and it's feeling expansive but scary, do it. Yeah, do it. And you know what? That idea. So, anyways, to bring this to a close, let's wrap it in a bow. Dating 101, launching again. Early bird ends tomorrow. You can go to datingisdope.com or you can go to the link in my bio. Sign up. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's all this stuff, but for 4 weeks and a deep dive. And we look at recalibrating your nervous system, green flags, red flags, getting to know what you want, all of that stuff. It's magic and it's fun. And you should have fun as you grow and expand. Much love, everybody. Have the best night. I'm going to go eat tacos.